Black Lotus podcast, and today we're going to be having another guest on our show today. So, my name is MF.
Nappy P.
Bugs.
Right?
And SpookyCreepyJay.
Yes. So, Jay, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm SpookyCreepyJay. I'm a mass communication major out in Colorado. I also stream on Twitch.
All right. Well, today we're going to be inquiring about some things in the United States that we don't really have much clarification on. So, Nikki, you want to get into that?
Okay. I guess I'm up to bat first. I feel, and I was wondering, and I guess I'm inquiring now, do you feel that, or maybe do you know, if the media portrays education in the United States as lacking? Because it seems like very often when you see people on the news or on anything, you're like, I don't think those are the people they should be asking these questions, just because it seems like they don't really have a grasp on the situation.
Not universally. I think that some people don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and I mean that's kind of common in the U.S. But also, I think like are we talking about like on the news, like 6 o'clock news? This is the latest person, and we're here interviewing them that were at the scene of this accident. What do you think? Or are you talking about like people that are experts in the field?
Not experts. No. Just general people. It just seems like they don't know much
citizens.
of the like the standard of intelligence, education. It just seems like they're not aware or know as much about everywhere else as everywhere else has like a general, I don't know, idea how things work somewhere else. Like, I don't know how Canada has provinces and we don't have a president.
Yeah,
for example.
No, that's pretty common that Americans are very ethnocentric in a way. Like we know a lot about America, but we're not very global, and we're not thinking about other countries very often, and we're not taught really about a lot that happens in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
We're very single visioned, tunnel visioned on American news. We think we like dominate everything. So
Well, to
we're
that,
the greatest.
You guys do dominate North American news, though. When you're looking at North American news, like when I turn on the news, it's like, bam, something's happening in America. You know, like even like small things. It's like this small community had some car break-ins, and someone set a firework off, and it burned someone's front tree in their front yard off. It's that's what we're watching. You know, so it's just kind of like that's where we're getting our. I think everybody, you know. That's where we're getting kind of our stereotypes of what Americans are, you know, and that's why, you know, in terms of Nikki's question, it's like, does the media pick like these people who don't seem, you know, the brightest bulb to be the interviewees for a reason? Is that the perception that they want to put out into the world? Like, do you feel like there's an agenda behind that?
I think it might not be on purpose. I think it's just that that's who they like. We don't even realize how dopey we seem.
Oh, okay.
Also, I think that it's easy to I don't know. It's just people are really freaks here, is how I feel about it. And like, I'm sorry that you have to deal with our news in Canada. My apologies.
No, it's all good. All right, Bugs.
Okay, I have 3 questions.
Well, just start with one and then just follow up.
One.
Yeah.
How does the healthcare system work in America exactly?
So healthcare, it's basically a corporate free-for-all. Like hospitals and doctors' offices are owned by private sector businesses. I mean, there's even literally for-profit hospitals. Like, we don't even pretend that they're for like helping and serving communities. They're for money. Additionally, you need health insurance in the United States because the cost, I think it's like this pretty universally. Actually, prescription costs and stuff is much cheaper in Canada than here, even out of pocket without health insurance. But basically we fund via taxpayer dollars. We fund like we give grants to these scientists or pharmaceutical companies to create like cutting edge drugs that can help prevent death and disease. So we're like subsidizing them, and then they patent it. Like the drug companies patent the drug, and then we have to pay more, like more than anywhere, pretty much, for those same drugs that cost like $8 in Canada. And also there's like co-payments, premiums. There's even health insurance policies that you can buy that technically you have health insurance, so like it'll cover emergency costs if you have to be hospitalized or something, but it isn't gonna completely pay for a doctor's visit or for your entire co-payment for a drug, you know. So you're still like every time you have to pay to go see the doctor, then you have to go pay for the prescription, and then you have to pay hourly for the insurance you have that should be theoretically covering all of those costs, but it doesn't. And there is our like public healthcare options are pretty limited. We have Medicaid and Medicare, and so Medicare is for people over 65, and Medicare is for people in low-income households that meet a certain requirement. Like not all people that are in poverty even qualify for Medicaid.
Wow.
Wow.
But yeah, and that's subsidized by the state, not the federal government. So if you have Medicare in, let's say, New York, you're not going to be able to get treatment or anything except emergency costs in New Jersey or anywhere else in any other state.
Ah, that's wild. Oh.
It's really horrible. And most often than not, mental health, dental, like some specialists often aren't even included in the low tier insurance packages. So you have to pay either like hundreds and hundreds a month for like a really good um, health insurance program, or and then that should cover most of your expenses and cost for visiting the doctor for medicine. But if you're just paying like a basic, like small, low tier insurance package, you're going to be in a lot of trouble if you actually need to go get medication or go see a couple doctors a year. It's not even worth it almost. You might as well just pay out of pocket.
So
That
like,
is-
what's like the standard cost of like, would you say a package that would actually meet your needs as a citizen, like standard household?
Like what? Can you re-explain that?
Yeah, like like let's say it's just you're no kids, right? Just two people in a household, double income household, right? And usually in one household, how many times a year would you say you would go to the doctors? Let's say twice, right? Each. And also no major surgeries. However, you want to be covered for your drugs, or you want to be covered for any emergencies, like real emergencies. Like what would we be looking at monthly? Because low tier, you're like, that's not even worth it. But-
Yeah, I mean, like there's low tier ones that are like 200 like a month ish. I know that I was looking at one because I just recently moved to a different state and I don't have health insurance right now. And I was looking at something in this state and it was like 650, and then like a mid-tier one, like one that was like better and like would probably cover a lot of the expenses, was like up to $850 just a month. Name one working class person that can afford that. It's just not a thing.
like what?
It
Like,
doesn't it's not right. It's
no,
it's
that's
really
not right
bad.
at all. That's terrible. Like,
And then
That's-
right wing media will tell you that like that's the norm universally in other countries, like, or that we have better we have better health outcomes than other countries, and it's not true.
that's,
Oh my God.
that is a lie.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
like hearing in Canada, like I don't even have to think about it. Like I don't even have to
No.
think about, oh, how much do I gotta pay to
Not to
go to the
worry.
doctors. I just go, like, and nothing.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
you just hand over your healthcare card and it's just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
bam, right?
That's it.
And that's how it is in the US until you turn 26, if your parents are paying for your health insurance plan. Up until 26 you get it.
26, eh?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then as soon as you're 26,
It's a
reality comes in and kicks you in the ass.
That's a strange number. Hey guys, 26,
Yeah, ours is
18.
ours is
18.
no, actually no, it's
Did
not.
it change?
Yeah, you
I
can
swear it was 18.
stay under
Last I
you can
checked.
stay under your parents until I think it's close, like 25 or something like that. As long as you're in school, I think it's
Still
as long as you're in
student.
So like,
school,
there's
yeah,
a
as long as you're still,
stipulation to it for sure.
yeah, as long as you're a student full time, age 25, you can still be under your parents.
But that's just for their benefits packages, right? That's not for just healthcare. Like you,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
true.
right? So that's for extra shit like glasses and
Yeah,
massage
exactly.
stuff, right? So that's not even like just basic healthcare. Basic healthcare, like we're born with that, you know,
Yeah.
like. So okay, yeah, Book. Sorry, follow
Okay,
up.
I
Yeah.
have another one. How many people actually have healthcare? Like, you could give me a percentage of anything, because
Do you have an idea?
Yeah.
yeah, do you have
Yeah,
any idea? Hey,
I looked into it. So roughly 27 million people don't have health insurance, but that was before the pandemic. Was the latest number I could find. And
Oh.
millions of people are losing their jobs. And mind you, our healthcare is tied to our employment status.
Get out of here.
Oh.
Your job is the one providing healthcare, like
Yeah.
health insurance.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, unless you're 65 or older, or if you're on Medicaid because you're super low income. So that's a staggering amount of people.
Absolutely. So, like, do you feel like that's something that is kind of like glazed over in the United States? Like, that's kind of a big deal that a lot of people, and I say that lightly, like a lot of people don't have like healthcare coverage. You know,
It's
He's
something
like-
I'm very,
He's like-
upset about. Honestly,
he's just like, yeah, I know, like you're preaching. No, like
I think the younger people get it, but the older people worked their whole lives for it, or like they chose a job or a lifestyle because it would provide them a decent health insurance package, so they feel like they don't need to look out for others.
So
There's a lot of rugged, and it's really just nasty individualism is what it comes down to. Like, me and my family are covered. I don't care about the other people. They're going to flood my doctor's office and my hospital, and I'm not going to be able to get the care that I've worked for all these years.
damn.
It's kind of the attitude.
Oh wow.
Kind of what it has to be.
Wow.
In the system, I
It's
guess.
not,
Okay.
it's
And
not right.
my last question is, did Obamacare really make a difference?
I think Obamacare seemed like a step in the right direction for our country, but it had a lot of problems.
Can you? Sorry, can you like explain what Obamacare is? Like for me, I don't really know like the schematics of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically it was the Affordable Care Act. It was obviously during the Obama administration. And it was basically the idea was a single payer healthcare system. So everybody had health insurance. So it would lower the cost of health insurance if every American had health insurance, was the idea. But you'd still have to pay for it. Um, so basically what it was if you would go to healthcare.gov, that was the website that they used. It was like they were trying to not make it so that it was tied to your employer. So you could go to this marketplace on the government website, pick out an insurance plan that sounded good and like it would tell you the premiums and like the cost for co-payments and all that stuff. But the big problem I had with it was that it mandated health insurance for every American. So basically, if you didn't have health insurance, you were fined 2% of your income or $295 a year, whichever was more.
Oh wow.
So basically, it's like a slap in the face for the working class yet again, because it had a good idea, like everyone should have health insurance, obviously, but if you're gonna find people that don't have it, that couldn't afford it because the government website was still insanely expensive, like way above reach for the working class.
It's like a punishment.
Yeah, it's like, let's punish you for being poor and punish you for trying to get health insurance because you obviously can't afford it. Yeah, and not only that, but the website went down all the time. It was really bad. And everything, like all the policies you'd find on there, except for the super expensive ones, like I said before, have an insanely pricey premium. So like, yeah, you had health insurance, but it still costs you to go to the doctors. Even if it's like $30, that's still like, if you have to go to a couple doctors, a specialist is going to be double the regular copayment. The prescriptions you get are going to cost you money. But I mean, it was a step in the right direction because it expanded access to healthcare. And that's commendable, I think. It just wasn't, it didn't work out. And there were so many conservatives and other people that were just like appalled by it and wanted it out. And as soon as Trump got elected, it was taken right out.
Is it taken out, or is it something like the Affordable Act, Healthcare Act, still kind of in place at this time? Just for now.
I don't think it is. I know that the let's go to healthcare.gov. I know that the fine is out. Like you don't get fined anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, healthcare.gov is still up and running. You can, let's see how much we can get coverage for. Maybe I'm missing out on some good health insurance.
Live application.
That's so wild. That's actually so wild.
Oh yeah, it says open enrollment's over, so
Mm.
I'm cucked anyway. Doesn't matter.
You have to enroll to get insurance. Like, bro. What
Yeah, you
is
have to enroll
that?
yearly.
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 That's terrible. That's terrible.
It's pretty
Terrible,
different.
terrible, terrible.
Yeah, like
And
but
it's only like a couple weeks. You don't like have a long time. The open enrollment might be like a couple months, like 2 or 3 months. And then you have to be in like a weird, like unusual circumstance for them to not to take you during non-open enrollment, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Like there's special enrollment periods for people under like weird circumstances, but it's not good.
So what's your thoughts on it, Bugs? Like you look so appalled right now.
It's not, like that's hurt, man. Like that's hurt. And you guys have so much more people than we do. Like
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the whole
bro,
excuse they use against like a Medicare for all.
like man, like yo, I don't even know what to say. Like I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry. Like that
Does any
sucks.
Canadian want to adopt me? I'm
Right.
Oh my
27-year-old.
Wow.
I'll clean your house. Just fucking adopt me.
Yours is a big place, man.
Yeah,
50 states.
man.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
people to manage.
Oh,
Like-
That's a lot.
It's huge. I do want to ask, like, so thanks for sharing just that information on healthcare. Like, I'm actually really blown away, like, by just all this information. Like, that's fucking crazy, you know, that all this information, we just don't, I don't know, we just don't get as much, we just don't get it, basically. And that's, I think that's really sad that we have everything that we know as Canadians. If we don't do any hard research, it just comes from the news, right? So, in terms of like the media outlets in the United States, so Jay, like, what are they controlled by? And do you feel that they're specifically pushing an agenda? Because, you know, there's Fox News, like, you know what I mean, right? Like, they're always like politically partied, controlled, or, you know, corporate controlled. So, can you speak more to that?
Yeah, so to give you guys an idea, there's currently 5 corporations that own 90% of the American media. 5. So like it's AT&T, Comcast, Fox, Disney, and Viacom CBS. They own everything, like everything. And so, and I mean, obviously they're very guilty towards like, you know, sprucing it up, making it a little more sensational to sell papers or get you watching.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting how little the healthcare debate goes on because, you know, there's hundreds of insurance companies literally advertising their health insurance plans on those networks. Like it's like they're all in bed with each other, just trying to make profit.
Oh my
So it would
gosh.
be against their own interests and their ad revenue to, you know, like discuss like how helpful it could be for a single like a government funded health care. Like there's so many jobs that are tied to health insurance. There's so many like greedy executives, and even like if you look at the Wall Street side of things, I mean, it's just there's so much money, and a lot of these politicians, and they all have something at stake for switching to any other way of doing health insurance, I feel. So the media, they're pushing their agenda, and their agenda is just blind corporatism is really what it is. Like consumers shouldn't be aware of how disgusting we are, is how they feel.
Right.
And it's so interesting because we're living through such a weird time with like the emergence of social media and the decline in trust in our media. It's just, is it any better that people are getting their news off social media? Probably not, but it's like back in the days of newspapers when the radio started and everybody hated the radio and thought it was like the devil and it was going to change everything radically. But it's really just a new type of media and a new way to be manipulating the masses.
Yeah.
And it's
No.
faster. A lot faster. With all
Yeah,
the social media. Press a button, send it out to millions of people across the planet. Everybody's
it's
having one.
dangerous. There's dangers, but there's also opportunities for people to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you think that's like the biggest problem in America?
I think we are so stuck on the American dream that it's almost non-existent. And I don't know if you guys are aware of the American dream, but it's basically to get rich or die trying.
Mm-hmm.
We're like rely on no one, just make it yourself is like our whole culture in a nutshell, I'd say. And yeah, like we're just so profit driven and money hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So strange.
just a follow-up question. So you know how the United States just like borrowed like X amount of dollars, right? That was said to go towards people's stimulus checks. I don't know if I'm saying that properly, but what was like that actually for? Because in terms of what I was seeing in the news, like all these Americans were being helped with this money, and with that money, do you have to pay it back? Like that's a huge question that's being asked of the.
You don't have to pay the stimulus check back, but mind you, it was like what, 1,400 once.
Yeah, it was like.
So
Like we got a $1,400 check like months ago, and
Yeah. Here, hope you're doing better.
and that's it. Like that's all they gave you.
Yeah.
Just
Yep, that's it. But they were bailing out corporations like it was fucking.
On
The
fire.
ship was sinking. Yeah, they
Yeah.
had their cop like. Yeah, like they're bailing out like the cruise industry and like the airplane industry and like shit like that, instead of the actual individuals that are like trying to eat and not die.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's sad. I think it's really sad. I'm luckily in a position where I'm not going to starve. I don't need to rely on the government, but so many people, especially my age, can't, like, they literally can't. Like, what chances do they have of ever getting out of their parents' house? It's just like not a good time. It's really sad. And especially in a place where like the cost of living is insanely high, like where I grew up. It's just like you can't do it, and especially without an education, like you need to spend 30K a year for 4 years to then hopefully be able to pay off your student debt and be able to have a family, and you know what I mean? The list goes on, and it's just really draining, and I feel bad for people that are really in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't recommend relying on our government or waiting around for them to help you, because they clearly aren't going to. It's not in their interest.
unless you have money.
If you have money, you're so happy in this country. You're moving to Florida, you're not paying income tax, you're living your life, like you're doing your thing.
In the Keys.
You're Miami, yeah. But for the rest of us plebs, it's really dangerous and scary.
Oh.
And just think about the mental health aspect. Like, it really makes me sad. And to think that so many people lost their health insurance and they can't even go to a therapist, like during
Lost their
Corona.
jobs. Yeah, yeah. Oh, there's a lot of things lost. A lot of people displaced from this.
Yeah, a lot of people lost their houses or even like their apartments. It's just horrid. It's really, and then like in the same neighborhood down the street is some fat cat sitting there like eating like a
Mhm.
big fat lobster and just
Mm.
in
Like
their
it's another
silk
day.
robe, smoking a cigar.
Yeah, yeah. Got to go into debt to get out of debt is kind of the way life works right now. Hey, welcome to
Yeah.
the world. We're going to give you a little bit of education, and then you better pay us a bunch of money so you can make money to pay us back, and then
But
maybe get on with your
that's
life.
North American though. Like that's North
Yeah,
America.
that's North America. Yeah, that's just
Like
how
think
it is. I
of
don't know
just
about other
even
places.
signing a contract for a cell phone. Okay, like
Yeah.
that's guaranteed business for that business. You know, like in most other countries, yo, you're not financing your cell phone through us. You fucking kidding me? Like you're gonna buy that with tax outright. Come to us for the service, but we're not gonna finance your phone. Never mind try to negotiate with us about it, right?
Hmm.
But like that's North America. That's why like the whole thing with like credit and like credit cards and all this shit was introduced to us. Like, yo, if you told someone you were stuffing cash in your mattress and that's how you'd be saving money, like people are gonna look at you like you're crazy. Right? But at the end of the day, like if you're saving more than 10 grand a month somehow, right? Like it's safer to do it that way. Because like think about how like savings accounts, like we're not talking about tax-free saving, we're talking about like your actual savings where they're like, oh yeah, 2.5 interest on that. Like if it reaches a certain amount, you take that money out, you spend it, like you got to tell the government that, and then they tax you some more on the interest that you earn on your savings.
Hmm.
Like it's just like a
It's
repeated
demented. Well,
scam.
oh yeah, and what? As soon as you become of age, like I swear, the first time somebody started talking to me about credit card was like 16, 17, 18. Right as soon as you're starting to hit those age points, you're just swamped by those people. Oh hey,
Oh
we'll send you one
yeah.
in the mail. We'll hook you up. Hey, you need a credit card? You got a credit card? Just put your name down and I'll give you one. It's
Yo,
basically
I
how
and
it
laughed.
starts.
I laughed at them.
they
Yeah.
target people
Yeah.
who are in school, right?
Yeah.
And that's like a huge thing. Like when I was like working, you know, because I didn't go to university right away, but when I was working and I was making decent income at 19, I tried to apply for a credit card to build my freaking credit. And then it was like, LOL, you're not approved. But as soon as I cut down my hours, went to university, I'm like flooded with all these offers. It's like, get this credit card through this bank. It's a student discount on the yearly rate and all this shit. So, like, does it work kind of the same way in the States, though, Jay?
Oh yeah, they'll give you credit. They don't care. They'll take the L. They'll hunt you down and sell your newborn.
Right.
They don't care. There's
Yeah,
predatory lending is really what it is. Like they know you can't afford it and they'll just do it anyway and charge you insane amounts of interest.
That's crazy. What's standard interest on a credit card? Our standard is what, 19.99% here?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I just got a credit card first. I'm 28 and I got my first credit card.
Yo, really? Because I got my first credit card at 22, and I was like, hey, I'm a blow. Like, they gave me a ridiculous limit, like 20 grand.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding you.
It's 24% here, by the way.
Wow, that's crazy. So that's just like standard though on the balance if you owe it. Like I wonder what the interest would be for like cash advances and shit like that. Like the bank, what?
Yeah, that's
his
there was already
face is like-
24%. It's probably like 30%,
It's probably like 50%.
something like that.
I
Crazy.
wouldn't
Yeah, who knows?
dream
I
of a
don't know.
cash advance on
Oh
anything
my
but
gosh.
No, like that's that's really crazy. So sorry, Nikki, question? Is there anything you want to speak to, Jay? Like any talking points you want to bring up?
that. Now I'm chilling.
He's just answering questions,
Whatever
yo.
you guys want.
He's like, let me just
Here
lay
for
this
it.
out here for you. All right, so Nikki, if you want to.
Okay, let's see. So you know how, for example, for Canada or places in Canada make their money as a reference where people would be like, oh yeah, up there in Canada they got oil is where we get, the basis of our national income without like importing and exporting without the exporting, but like, where is the basis for America's income?
That's a tough one, but we definitely have an undeniable like entrepreneurial attitude and culture, I feel,
Mm-hmm.
and a financial system that rewards that kind of activity. I mean, we have a growing population, and only 7% of our workforce is unionized, so cheap labor is abundant.
Holy shit.
Oh, wait, wait.
Yeah.
You said, wait.
Yeah.
Only 7% is unionized.
Jay, you come in dropping some piping hot
I should
tea, my guy.
I should just get up and just I should just leave. Like
Don't do
what
it.
is this, bro? What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Wow.
okay. Sorry, continue.
um,
Whoa.
so although there are there's restrictions on immigration to the U.S., there's like
Mhm.
we have special rules for a path to citizenship for individual talent and industrial sponsorship.
Right.
So
Right.
we love the cheap labor. And I mean, the average employee in the United States works 1,800 hours per year, which is substantially longer than the 1,500 hours worked in France and the 1,400 hours worked in Germany. So we have like this weird work thing where like we think we need to work 80 hours a week all the time. Additionally, I think having 50 states really makes it really competitive for businesses' attention because they all like kind of like fight and like they don't fight, but they'll pass laws to get like a Tesla,
Compete.
yeah, they just want businesses to do business in their state because it'll help them in the long run. So there's states like Florida with no income tax, where there's just like these like shisty laws that are in place literally just for consumerism to carry on, you know. Um, but like, I don't know like what resources we have that are really making us a ton of money. I just know that we have some serious money making states. Um,
It's the American dream.
I forget how I found this one thing, but I know the state of California by itself, if it was considered its own country, is like an insanely rich place. Like California's doing it right somehow. Um, like LA County, it's just like don't we don't regulate things to protect workers, and also we don't like to pay people. We like to charge a lot. And a ton of people freaking live here, and a lot of people immigrate here, and work. And like immigrants in our country make up such like a pretty good number of like our revenue, honestly. Like we are a country that was founded on immigrants, and it's just so shisty how we treat them now. But like we really couldn't have done it without the amount of immigration that we've had to this country. And it's sad that like they're looked down upon by like asshole government people.
The higher ups.
And people.
Ups.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to know is like, how is the United States military so advanced? Like, what funds the military? Like, I think you guys have one of the most prominent militaries in the world, is what is said, right? Because in terms of America's wealth, like, I'll tell you what people think. We think that you guys go into other countries while you're helping and then take all their resources.
Yeah, we set up little diplomatic like stations or whatever. Yeah. Our military is like no fucking joke. It's like terrifying. And I think it's cute that like a lot of Americans are like, we need guns to protect ourselves from the government turning on us. And it's like, they'll send a fucking drone and you will never be seen. Your whole like block will never be seen again. Like, give me a break, you fucking idiots. But the military is seriously like overfunded. It's really not good. Like they could invest in people, I feel, a lot more than the military. But there's these government contracts we have with like the developers of a lot of the military stuff, and also we have patents on a lot of military stuff, so we're selling that to other countries and making a fuck ton for it. But pretty sure our military is making us money.
You spend money to make money. Yeah.
Yeah, we're making a ton of fucking money off our military. So, and like there's like these shady backroom deals, like the government pays these like corporations that lobby, like, you know what I mean? They lobby in Congress and stuff. Yeah, don't even open the can of worms about lobbying, because that's just a whole nother.
No, let's do it. Like, you know what, Jay? We so rarely get, you know, a chance to have these conversations. You know, we definitely want to be able to kind of open that can of worms. Like, when we talk about it, yo, it's speculation. That's all it is, right? It's just speculation among us. But, you know, you're here with the facts, bro. Like, we want to hear some of the facts.
So, like, okay, in Congress, there's like you can go talk to your Congress people, or you can go and sit into a meeting on Congress or whatever. Like, you can go and like go to like the committee on whatever, like the agricultural department committee, and you can like try to go and like be heard in the hearing. But what lobbyists do, which are basically corporations that hire people like lawyers to go sit in on these meetings and basically make sure that like no public person could really get into it and be effective. But they can basically hold up a meeting, they could talk, like they could do whatever they do to basically twist the arms of politicians to better their own interests. Like lobbying firms are prevalent, and it's just like another thing that we should probably not have going on, but we do. It's really scary how much money in politics like works. Because like you can't, like an individual, there's a limit on how much they could donate to get somebody reelected. But okay, so I think the maximum, how much can you donate to a campaign? I think it's like 1,000, like a couple hundred. Yeah, it's 2,800 per person.
Per individual.
All right,
person.
but if they're in a PAC or a super PAC, which is a political action committee, it's unlimited. It's an unlimited amount. So like Pepsi Cola wants to build a pipeline that goes through a Native American reservation. All right, great. Let's just fund the person that's a local official in that area. Let's just buy their election for them so they win, and then we get something out of it. Like,
That's
it's
fucked up.
just really fucked up how big money equates to big power, because you could literally buy elections with the, you know what I mean?
Just
Crazy.
influence it all.
Oh man.
So there's a lot of that going on.
That's
The hair real quick.
that's all good. That's fucked up.
Yeah, like that's really concerning to me, and that's what really appealed to me about Bernie Sanders' campaign. Obviously, and also Medicare for All, which was his like big thing. He really wanted to offer everyone the same universal health insurance, and it would be paid for with taxes instead of you having to go through your employer or anything. Basically putting us in the same like playing field as every other fucking major country on earth. But we voted, it's not even that the US like majority voted against him, but we have a delegate system. So you have to win certain districts and areas in order to win an election.
They got
And
more pull.
yeah, so and it goes in order too. So like my state where I'm a legal resident of, we don't even vote until June. The election was like just like the primary election was decided in like several months before. So half the state gets to vote and make all of the all of the decisions for president pretty much. And like weird states too, like states that really hold no other power. For example, like Iowa. You guys love Iowa?
Well, I
I
don't
don't know
really
what
know
I
much.
love.
Iowa and Indiana.
Doesn't come up much
Yeah, no.
unless it's
Yeah.
election time. Then everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the election coming up, Jay?
disturbed.
Let's get personal, if you don't mind.
We're not going to see anything exciting, really. We're not going to see great change. Biden's a horrible candidate, like absolutely horrible, on almost every front. Like personally, his public persona, like him talking in public ever. His policies are so right leaning that I don't understand how you can call yourself a liberal and vote for him. Like he's literally a Republican.
Like, for example,
His entire career in the Senate. Like he was the one who fucking. There's so much shit on him. Basically, like the war on drugs, he completely endorses. Like he loves that people. Like he loves mass incarcerating anyone that does. That finds themselves with even like pot. Like he's not a proponent of legalizing pot. He's not a proponent of offering a universal health insurance. He I think he does want to expand on on Obamacare, but if you even say Obamacare in front of like a conservative in this country, it's like a trigger and they're gonna never pass it in the Congress. And right now, as things are, Republicans are the majority. Like the Democrats have the House, but the Senate is run by Republicans. And I mean, so is the executive branch, President Trump. So I guess the Democrats would be a 2-3 if Biden won. But also, a big thing with Biden that really skeeves me out is he was such a proponent of NAFTA,
what's
the
NAFTA?
North American Free Trade Agreement.
Okay.
And basically, it's like shipping all of our fucking. We're like importing all of our goods from China. We don't make anything domestically, which I think is a huge problem in this country. Like all of like 90% of our drugs are straight from China.
Oh shit.
We're not self-reliant. Like we're not really we can't be self-sufficient. Like I think we just need like a touch of nationalism, which is something that Trump is very fucking like on. He's on the team for. Like he loves America and hates every single other country. So I think that's
Super
like he's
obvious.
just too much with it. You know what I mean? But I think that he does have a good point when he says that like we shouldn't be shipping our jobs overseas. Like we're not in the best of shape with unemployment rates.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were doing okay, but then as soon as COVID hit, it's like we haven't seen unemployment rates like this since the Great Depression. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that isn't just America, but if you look at like every other country's rates of coronavirus compared to ours, it's like actually crazy. It's like fucking crazy.
And we're not even on the same chart.
It's insane. Like we
Mhm.
lead by such an insane percent. It's just so discouraging. And wow, it would be so crazy radical to have everyone have health insurance,
During an
be able
epidemic
to
right
get
now.
tested.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Like to a degree, do you support Trump or do you feel like you're very blue?
I'm very blue. I would never vote for Trump. He's just such a scumbag overall.
Do you feel like the Democrats are just bringing up these candidates or that just total shit the last few elections? Like there was something that you said when I first met you that was just like, I don't like how they're saying put in blue. I forgot what the saying was, but I was like, holy shit.
Vote blue no matter who.
Yeah, that's what it was. And I was like, that's fucking crazy, right?
Yeah. It's literally like blue team versus red team. Don't care about anything but that. We just have to make the blue team the winners.
And how do you
Like
feel
we don't
about that?
disturbed. Like anyone could say they're a Democrat or a Republican and run for that, but then be completely ideologically on the other side of things. And that's how I feel about Biden.
Crazy.
Is he's so fucking right leaning. It's insane that he's a Democrat. But then again, he's a neoliberal, which is like a corporatist Democrat. He's not an actual liberal that believes in like general decent human rights for the working class. I think the thing is people need to like who I admire in American politics is like a Robert F. Kennedy, like someone that champions like the working class. Like I'll never be a fucking bajillionaire, nor would I ever want to be. But I'd like to be able to live with a little bit of just decency, you know? Like I would like to not starve or live paycheck to paycheck. Like I'd like to just have like a tiny little savings account that could cover me in the like an ungodly event like a coronavirus pandemic or something. Like, you know, the world is so unpredictable. We don't know where like we're heading in 5 years. It'd be nice to have just a tiny bit of like a security blanket. And
Yeah.
instead, like American ideals are so much more polar opposite than that. Like if you're not a bajillionaire, you're a piece of shit. It's kind of how it comes down. And I don't think that's fair. And you know, there's people that I look up to that are not bajillionaires, like they're professors and like academics and people that are contributing so greatly to our society yet aren't even making like a decent wage for their contributions, and it's sad.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Those in power stay in power is kind of the way the system works in general right now. If you're at the top, you know, it's hard to fall down and it's hard to climb up. Just everybody stay where you are and just, you know, move on.
Yeah.
That's the
So,
line.
what do you think is going to happen with this election? Like, what's your speculation?
And are you voting?
Yeah. I'll vote for the Green Party candidate, who isn't a cup of tea, but like at least he has a couple policies I support. I do like the Green New Deal, which is like a renewable energy policy that Alexandria Ocasio Cortez wrote. Do you guys know who she is by
I
any
know who
chance?
she is, yeah.
She is,
Didn't she
she's
guest judge on like RuPaul's Drag Race?
yeah. I didn't see it, but yeah, I did hear that.
That was
She's
sweet.
a freshman congresswoman. She just got reelected, actually. She's out of the Bronx and Queens.
No, that's
So she's in the House, and she's like writing some interesting legislation. Like I'm for it. I think that it is crazy that we're so far behind the green energy movement. I think it wouldn't hurt, and it would create new jobs. It's my whole thing. Like we need to not be reliant on fucking fossil fuels. It's 2020, guys.
Oh yeah, we should be past that
2020.
globally.
Like
Globally.
anything. Like you
Yeah.
can do it any fucking other way, but we're like no. Fossil fuels.
It makes money, man. It's a
Yeah.
great revenue stream.
Yeah.
And the jobs, you'd have to lose a lot of jobs and replace them. I don't know if it would balance out in the long run, and the transition itself would just be a pain in the ass.
I know that's why
Apparently.
everyone's like, no, next generation.
Yeah, that's why I
can
just
do that.
yeah, we'll leave it for them. It works for us. Let the future be in the hands of the future.
Like I get it. We're not gonna like transform our energy system overnight, but just a
Should make
tiny
strides.
initiative, dude. Like, and it has to be at the government level. We can't expect corporations to do the right thing. Like, come the fuck on. Like, there's no way we're gonna just wake up one day and ExxonMobil is gonna be, you know, like building windmills or something. It's not gonna happen. We need to subsidize it. It's really what it is. And create jobs, like good government jobs. Preferably with the union.
Yeah, throw some healthcare in there. Yeah.
Like just a little.
You know, Jay, you know what I really want to just point out? It's just that I super admire the fact that you're still going to be voting, right? Even if it's for a party that you know is not going to go through, like you're like, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to hold my nose and vote for blue no matter who, right? You're like, I'm going to vote for who I believe in, right? And
no, I voted for Hillary in 2016, and I kind of like hated it, like because even back then she just reeks of like corporatism. Like she just reeks of like I'm gonna definitely hand out millions of dollars to large corporations that help me get this election. Ha ha. And it wasn't even like it was so transparent to me, but I thought like, hey, maybe we'll have a woman president. That's kind of cool. But like now looking back on that, you can't fucking vote based on identity. I'm sorry, but it's just you can't do it. Like you can definitely do it, but I just don't think it's a good idea. Also, I just think that like I don't like the direction that Democrats are going in right now. I'm not sure I even consider myself an actual Democrat. Like I'm definitely leaning left, but like more left than fucking Democrats in this country.
Yeah.
So it's sad. I mean, we can't even get Biden to take the low-hanging fruit of legalizing cannabis when we have like 65% or something ridiculous like that in favor of legalizing recreational cannabis. So it just goes to show old habits die hard. This is the man that like gave fucking life sentences to people that were just selling drugs and stuff in the 90s. Like he was such a scumbag in Congress. Like in the Senate, he did nothing but harm to people of color and to people in marginalized communities that, you know, like they're just already just trying to live and you're fucking throwing them in prison for life because they had a couple bags of drugs. Like I think that's despicable, honestly. And know who he has a bunch of ties with? The fucking for-profit prison systems in this country. Another big money maker.
Can you touch
Like,
on that? Like, can you go into detail about that?
yeah, so prisons, some of them are public and like the government owns them and whatever, but a lot of them are for profit. And so like a company owns it and they're profiting off of it by keeping them full. Like they need them to be full to profit, really. So they're just loading people in with shitty laws.
That's fucked. Like, Bugs,
like-
can you just like imagine? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, getting caught with like a piner, just like half a joint. Whoa, you go into the bin.
Hell yeah.
Like, what the hell? Cops here will be like, oh, hey, well, you got any weed? I'll be like, yeah, man, I got some. He'll be like, all right, and then I'd be like, oh, here it is. He'd be like, yeah, I'm just gonna take this and throw it on the floor. He's like, can you step on it for me? I'd be like, yeah, sure. And then he'd be like, all right, on your way. They're like, you're going to jail for 25 years, 30 years. What?
Yeah.
It was a joint, bro.
Especially like you're in a school zone or some shit. Forget it.
That's crazy.
It's not right. And it definitely differs state to state. Like where I am, it's legal and you can even grow it and stuff. But if you go to the state, like if you go like 20 to 30 miles from here, it's
that
like,
way. Yeah, it's completely different.
Fucking bad charge. It's really, really bad. It's just like, come on, guys.
Like, that's.
I don't know. I don't think there's like, unless you're like distributing heroin or like crack or something, like even that though, I don't even know that you should be sent to prison for the rest of your life. Like, is it immoral? Yes, probably, but like, it's not, I don't know. It's not worth an entire life for some poor bastard.
Exactly.
Like, it isn't.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask like a little bit of a brave space question, Jay. Right? You, like feel free to like not answer this, but you know,
Pass.
yeah, like feel free to pass. You know, but in terms of us here at the Black Lotus, obviously we're very behind. You know, the Black Lives Matter movement. We're very behind. You know, like equal rights, and everyone should have a standing. You know, on an equal platform. So, what are your views on BLM? And just, you know, do you feel that in terms of marginalized communities and people of color, they are being systematically oppressed in the United States?
Yeah. I think that it's just insane. Like I know that America is like I think 13% African American, and if you compare blacks versus whites, they're imprisoned more, and I don't think it's their choices. I think it's just the system is actually fucked. And even if people aren't acknowledging the fact that race comes into it, I think that it does, even if it's on a subconscious level. And it's not right. I think that there needs to be like a better education. Like I think there should be some like programs that help cops understand I don't know, how to just be better people. Like you shouldn't be fucking killing people ever,
Ethics.
really. Like I think that's crazy. Yeah, that's it.
I just think it's really
It's really
fucked.
bad.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to it. I really don't. I think that it's just something that's so fucked.
No, it's not answer I was asking. It was just more of your like personal opinion, right? That's why I said, in terms of brief space, I don't know if you're
Very space.
comfortable.
You're exposing yourself.
Yeah, like I don't know if you're
with your
comfortable
opinion.
like saying it, but it's just in terms of like your personal opinion, Like
Yeah.
I don't think anybody at this point has a real answer. If
Yeah.
we like really think about there is no answer. There's still so much debate going around in those topics, but we still don't have a clear-cut answer that's going to work to make the system better for everyone, for police, for people of color, like there needs to be almost like a system overhaul, right?
Yeah. And I think you're right, that I think that police and people of color definitely both need to be protected from one another. There are horror stories on both sides, and it's not good. Like, both ways, it's not good. And you can't just lump it all together. It's not that black and white. It's so nuanced with like fucked up shit, honestly. So we need to figure out, the only thing I can really think of is that we need to find a way to make it a safer space for both police and people of color. It's horrible that either side feels like they're going to lose their life because there's like a war, or you know what I mean? There's like a
Something
big,
going on.
like, I just want
Stigma.
people to be safe. That's really what it comes down to. I'm not sure if like implicit bias is ever going to change. And I don't know if people, I really have no idea what anyone could actually do. And I'm not sure that like the movement is going to change anything, actually. Unfortunately, honestly, I think that there might be some like programs to educate cops, but aside from that, what are we gaining from it all? I don't know.
Maybe they just have, too much responsibility. Because if you think about, when do you call an ambulance? Well, when someone's in physical distress of some sort. When do you call firefighters? Well, there's a fire. When do you call police? For everything else, like it's like, if you think about it in that way, like there's a lot, and every police person, policeman, policewoman, however you want to phrase it, has to deal with so many different varied situations without knowing what it's going to be until they get there. I think it's incomparable to expect them to be able to handle, I don't know, let's say 40% of the tasks that they're given in general.
Yeah. I mean, we certainly have, in some areas, not others, we have like insane police departments because of what I said about the fucking mass incarceration issue. Like, that's a profitable endeavor in this country. So, I don't know. I don't think that defunding the police or just dropping them altogether is even a close idea to a good one.
I agree.
I think that's terrifying. I think there's rapists and murderers out there, and I think that people need to be protected from that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's scary. It's like a very weird thing.
So, how powerful do you truly feel the president is?
Ooh. Well, do you mean like this one in specific or in general?
Well, let's do both. Let's go in general first, and then we'll downsize it to Mr. Trump.
All right, so
Mr. Trump.
Look at his face. He's like, "Yo, I'm gonna go in on this."
I got this, guys. All right, so there's 3 co-equal branches of government in the United States, at a federal level at least. So we have the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. So the executive branch is the president, the legislative is Congress, which is the House and the Senate. So there's 2 parts of the legislative branch. Then additionally, there's the judicial branch, which is like the Supreme Court or like federal courts. And so each branch has power, co-equal power, believe it or not. But oftentimes, like, the legislative branch like writes up a new law, and then the law has to pass through the executive branch, and then the courts can decide if it's constitutional.
Bound.
So the president's only powerful when he has a majority of Congress. Is a huge thing. So right now he does. Like, there's 2 out of 3 are Republican. So like the executive branch and the Senate is all conservative. So he basically can pass a lot of shit. But if you look back to Obama's era, he didn't have the majority, so he was kind of outnumbered and fucked. He really couldn't get much legislation passed. So really, it comes down to, I think the real power, honestly, is in Congress. And the Congress is pretty much led by two people. It's like the House, the leader, the Speaker of the House, which right now is Nancy Pelosi, and she basically will speak on behalf of the House. And she's a Democrat. And then there's Senator Mitch McConnell, the bane of every liberal's existence. And he's the Senate Majority Leader. So he's like the Speaker of the Senate, so to speak. And those are the two powerful ones. Like their power is like whew, compared to president, I think, honestly.
Wow.
I mean, but the president can like get shit passed, but he needs Mitch McConnell, man. Like if they aren't on the same page, it gets really ugly. But during this presidency, they pretty much have been on the same like they've been teaming up, they've been using their time and power to just ruin the rights of everyone they can. And giving huge tax write-offs and tax cuts to the rich.
Yeah.
Damn.
So that system was put in place so they can each, I guess, regulate one another
Yes,
by
I mean,
having
it does sound
equal
good.
votes and balance. But if the parties are unequal, then it's not very equal.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, there are some kind of like loops, so to speak. I mean, like the House is the ones that can start the impeachment proceedings, which they did. They did that. And I mean, there are obviously Democrats and Republicans on in each position
Right.
besides the executive. So, but it's interesting how it works, and it's kind of cool. But at the same time, like you have to take into account that like if you're in the House, you have to get reelected every 2 years, as opposed to Congress, like the Senate, who your seat is for 6 years.
Mhm.
So senators are pretty powerful, and they don't have to worry about getting reelected as much.
Yeah.
But people in the House of Reps are they're on their toes, and they'll side with like the people of power in their party more often than not. And that's why AOC is so interesting, because she's like a democratic socialist, which is not in vogue. It's not in vogue in our country at all. Like socialism is a trigger word in America. Like we're appalled by it. At least most people are, because they're fucking idiots. Socialism literally is like, hey guys, we should all look out for one another as a whole. And everyone else is like, fuck that.
'Cause it's the opposite of the American dream. It's supposed to be
Yeah, it
me
is.
and mine, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's You know what I find really interesting? Because that's. Does anyone else have any other lingering questions or follow-up questions or
I don't.
just well, Bugs, while you think about it, I'm just gonna address like I feel like in America there is a huge kind of nationalism. You know, like you're born in America and you are proud to be American. Like I got cousins in America. Like I grew up identifying as Vietnamese. You know, like that. When Canadians talk to each other, we don't go, "Yo, what's up? What are you? Oh, I'm Canadian. Oh shit, dude, I'm Canadian too." You know, like that. What are you question isn't like such a trigger question. You know, like it is in the United States. And but yeah, you know, look, when I talk to my cousins, they're like, "What are you talking about, man? I'm American." I'm like, "Hey, you know, like I'm not gonna argue with it,
If
but
you say so.
yeah, right. It's just like that's fine, that's cool. Like they're not wrong, but it's just like where does that big sense of being American come from?"
It's beyond me. I have no freaking clue, because I've never felt that way. Like I've always kind of looked at America like, oh, my ancestors fucked me.
right? Like
I don't know.
Americans hold on to their constitutional rights like hard, man.
Ooh,
Like
we love our Constitution. Don't fuck with our Bill of Rights. Like, do not. I know, and that's like basically the most powerful piece of, like, that's like
Parchment.
just the most, yeah, like, don't ever, like, nothing will ever be passed that's deemed unconstitutional. Like, that trumps all other laws forever, always. Like, anything else doesn't exist if it doesn't meet the requirements of that. Like, the courts would like laugh so bad if we ever tried to fix anything with it. That's why they get really, really uppity about like the gun safety laws, because it's violating our Second Amendment.
Gun laws. Oh, gun safety. Let's not go there.
How do you feel about the Constitution, Jay?
I
Hot
think
seat question.
it's one of my favorite things about America, actually. I think it's really cool that it's lived this long, and that's what kind of like kept us together. Like, even no matter where you are on the spectrum of ideologies, that is like the core usually of our political system and how we do things. And it's like I really enjoy some parts of it. Like, I love that like we have the freedom of press, and that we can say, stupid shit that's not good to say, as long as we don't like say there's like a bomb, or like there's like a fire, or like we incite violence. It's like totally fine to say whatever, pretty much. Like, I think that's kind of cool, because I really would be scared to live in a place that like restricted your rights of speech to any other extent than to like save people.
Mhm.
Like, you can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater, for example. Like, that is not protected by the Constitution. You'll get fucked for that. But aside from that, it's kind of cool, because like I've said a bunch of stupid shit in my life. I don't want to get arrested for it.
No,
Got
fair
that
enough.
going for
Like,
me.
honestly, thank you for sharing that. It opens up definitely a lot of insights to things that we never really thought of. Like the freedom of speech is kind of a double-edged sword for us because of, the atmosphere online all the time. But that's actually a really interesting thing to essentially bring up for us to kind of think about. It's like, hey, wherever you are, do you have freedom of speech? Right?
Yeah.
But we also have freedom of speech as well. But do we have a constitution?
It was before the internet freedom of speech.
Yeah, well, I know we have freedom of speech, but it's just kind of like, where does it come from, Because we don't hold on to it because of the Constitution. It's just freedom in Canada. Bugs, what do you think?
I'm sure there's paperwork somewhere.
You have freedom of speech?
Yeah. And if we do, where
Yeah,
does
we
it
do,
come from?
because- Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I never felt
I've
like
never had,
something I
like,
needed
we've
to
never
know.
had to worry about anything like that. It was just like growing up is like
Section
what
2
you
in the
want.
Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Yeah. There we go. We have a
It's all
charter of rights and
there's
There
freedoms.
it is.
We need to start tagging that on all the shit we post, guys. Section 2, Charter of Rights and Freedoms. That's our Constitution. No, I think that's what I have for today. You guys, anything in terms of, do you want to pick Jay's brain?
No, I think that was pretty interesting, pretty lengthy. Got some stuff. Got some questions answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got quite a bit of questions answered.
Yeah, we really, Jay, usually at the end with our interviewees, we usually give you, like, the floor is yours, right? If you want to open up some fun facts, or if you want to share an unpopular opinion. That's what I'd do if I went on other people's podcasts. Like, here's an unpopular opinion. Just FYI.
Feel free to throw your stream in there too.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think Zubal
Shout yourself out.
I think Zubal is on shouting out the
On top?
stream. Yeah. So thank you, Zub. You, the real is real. But yeah, the floor is yours, man. Like, whatever you want to just kind of end it with, right? You got to plug. As long as it's not for guns. Sorry. We ain't that kind of people.
All I have to say is, I'd love to be adopted. Canadians watching, please adopt me. No, that's all.
All
Thank you
right.
guys
No.
so much.
No, well, thank you everyone for stopping by again to just the Black Lotus Tea episode 2. All right, just give some tea up in here. Jay, I think, served it piping hot today, man. You got a little worked up sometimes. I was like, yes, man, get it.
There's a lot of
Politics. It always does that.
Politics is a good. You know what? Like in terms of anything in regards to anything about America, I really appreciate that you came on and you left pretty unbiased views in your answers, and I think we all appreciate that there, right? And Jay, thank you so much for setting time aside for us and just being able to share all of this clarification that we kind of needed, because there was a lot of things that I was like, I did not fucking know that.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
Like,
I'm here
yeah,
for you.
you cleared up.
7%. I don't remember that.
This guy's like the union. This is all this guy's thinking about. You guys aren't unionized very well over there.
7%.
But Jay, thank you. We honestly hope to have you again if anything else that's kind of spicy comes up, right? I appreciate you, man. And I'll start with you vaping with one viewer in your channel. So
Oh, I'm so grateful.
so love you so much, sweetie. Thank you.
Oh,
And
thanks so much.
everybody who came to check us
Thank
out
you.
today, we
for
super
coming by.
appreciate
Appreciate
it. Thank you. Yeah, so we're the Black Lotus Podcast. Definitely check out our YouTube, right? And I'm gonna highlight this vlog, and we're gonna see you guys next time. Hopefully next week we'll drop some updates on Instagram. So take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening.
See ya.
Peace.